Thank you for tuning in. You're watching Stars Autosport. In today's episode, we're going to be changing the oil on this 2021 Subaru WRX STI. If you watched my last video on the Forester oil change, there's a lot that is similar, but this being an EJ25, it's a different engine. So the oil filter is actually on the bottom, not the top. So it makes it a bit more challenging, but overall the process is pretty much the same. This engine's been around for a long time. I used to have a 2006 STI, and it's pretty much the same engine. Great engines. They get a bad reputation for not being reliable. You do have to maintain them frequently. I would change the oil every 3,000 miles, especially if you're doing aggressive driving. You definitely want to change the oil frequently. This one is completely bone stock, which is great. I think they can really use an extra 50 horsepower. I think 350, 360 horsepower is perfect for this chassis, my personal opinion. We're using the quick jacks today to get us some room underneath the car. Motul is fantastic. If you're going to be changing your oil on your STI, especially if you're going to be doing some spirited driving, some aggressive driving, something on the track, Motul is going to give you that extra bit of protection that I highly recommend. It's a bit more expensive, but completely worth it. Every 3,000 miles, Motul is the way to go for sure. It's only got 20,000 miles, so the car doesn't need a whole lot, just oil change. Maybe next time we'll do spark plugs. Okay. First things first, we want to take off this under panel to get access to the oil filter. And this is the hardware that's holding it in place. You got a couple of clips, a couple of 12mm bolts, and some clips in the back. There is 2 clips, one here, one there, and 2 more on the side here. And you have a few bolts holding it down. Pretty easy to get off. As you can see, once you get that under panel off, you have access to your oil filter and your drain plug, which is a 17mm socket right here. It's gonna be this guy. So this is your exhaust manifolds. This is a flat engine, so you have bank 1 and bank 2 that merge together and go up to the turbocharger, then down, that's the down pipe, all the way out the back. All right, so we're gonna get our drain bucket here, remove our oil filter first, oil filter off. It's gonna make a mess. It's totally normal, totally to be expected. Let's take this guy off here. Let's start draining. There we go. I recommend, just having a rag handy so you can clean up the mess. Certainly not as easy as the Forester, that's for sure. So that's the filter off there. That's actually an oil cooler. There's a coolant passages that go through this cooler to cool off the oil. So you want to just always inspect that, make sure it's not leaking or crusting or anything like that. Sometimes you'll see some corrosion around these hoses that indicates that it needs to get replaced. So obviously make sure there's no gasket on the filter mount. Okay, you want to make sure you clean up this mess so we don't get a bunch of smoke. I always recommend just putting some new oil around the new filter gasket, just so it seats. And in this case, since the oil filter is going upside down, you can actually fill this up with oil, which is recommended. Definitely don't want to drop this. Again, you don't need to crank this really excessively, just hand tight, and you're good to go. I'm gonna try to do this as smoothly as possible. So this is loose. What I like to do sometimes, let's do this. What I like to do sometimes is just bring the drain bucket up a bit so you can catch that oil as it's coming out. And it will come out and then boom, okay. Then you can slowly bring it down and you're good to go. Always make sure to install a new crush washer anytime you're doing an oil change. So there's a new one on here, and we're gonna go back together. As mentioned before, you just wanna hand snug that up, just hand tighten it. I think the factory torque is 20 foot-pounds or 25 foot-pounds, so just hand tighten it, very gentle. You don't need to really crank on it too aggressively, and you're good to go. Oil filter's on, drain plug is installed, and the under tray is back underneath as well. So we are good to go. We're just gonna drop the car, fill it up with 4.5 quarts of oil, and we're good to go. Basically where you want to be, right there in the middle. That's your high, your low's all the way down here, and we're right in the middle. Good to go. Lastly, we're going to be resetting the reminder for the oil. So you're going to use this toggle switch to go through the menus. I think I just passed it. There it is. Press and hold. You're going to go down to maintenance. You press maintenance. And then you're going to have engine oil and filter. Not really sure why they have these separated. But basically, you'd go to engine oil and you reset. I like to go based on mileage. You can do dates, 3,000 miles, and then you would hit set. And then you can go back, and then you're back to your main screen here.